Washington wanted his head on a platter, but Admiral Nimitz was about to bet his entire command on the one man everyone else called a failure. December 1944, Pearl Harbor. In Washington, Admiral Ernest King paces blue with rage. The most aggressive fighter in the Pacific has just lost 3 destroyers and 790 men to a typhoon. 2 months earlier, the same commander left the American invasion beaches undefended at Leyte Gulf. King has seen enough. He tells Admiral Chester Nimitz plainly, Halsey needs a rest. In Washington bureaucracies, a rest means removal. The popular image of Admiral Chester Nimitz is the quiet Texan, the calm administrator who trusts the chain of command. That image is wrong. Behind the measured voice is a man who spent 2.5 years running the Bureau of Navigation, the office that later became the Bureau of Personnel. Nimitz knows the personnel machine from the inside. Every form, every endorsement, every way an admiral can be quietly eased out, and every way one can be kept. The stakes are enormous. Admiral William Halsey commands the 3rd Fleet, 17 aircraft carriers, 6 fast battleships, more firepower than any navy has ever put to sea. If Nimitz protects him and he fails again, Nimitz falls with him. Admiral Ernest King is the chief of naval operations. His word moves careers. The Secretary of the Navy answers his calls. The White House is being briefed. Every signal points in one direction. Every signal except the one Nimitz is about to send. The command conflict that is about to unfold pits a theater commander against the entire Pacific War leadership bureaucracy. Nimitz has one advantage no one in Washington fully understands. He knows exactly which papers move which way, which endorsements carry weight, and which courts of inquiry can be bent without breaking. He is not planning open rebellion. He is planning something harder. A silent one. To understand why, you have to understand what Washington sees on paper. October 25, 1944. The Battle of Leyte Gulf is in its 2nd day. Admiral Halsey's 3rd Fleet is covering General MacArthur's invasion of the Philippines. A Japanese decoy force of 4 aircraft carriers appears to the north. Halsey takes the bait. He sails his entire fleet, 65 warships, to destroy them. Behind him, San Bernardino Strait is left completely undefended. The decoys carry barely 100 aircraft between them. The real threat is still to the west. At 0630, Admiral Kurita's center force slips through the empty strait. 4 battleships, 6 heavy cruisers, 11 destroyers. He encounters only Taffy 3, 6 tiny escort carriers, and a screen of destroyers and destroyer escorts. It should be annihilation. Japanese shells tear through the light American hulls. 3 U.S. ships are sunk within the hour. But the Americans refuse to run. Destroyers charge 18-inch battleship guns with 5-inch mounts. Kurita, convinced he is fighting Halsey's fleet carriers, breaks off and withdraws. From Pearl Harbor, Admiral Nimitz sends Halsey a coded query, "Where is Task Force 34?" A clerk's padding phrase at the end of the message, "The world wonders," is mistakenly left in the decoded text. Halsey reads it as public rebuke. He snatches off his cap, throws it to the deck, and weeps. Then he turns his battleship south. Too late. Kurita has already withdrawn. The invasion fleet survives by minutes. In Washington, King begins drafting the word rest. 2 months later, the second disaster strikes, December 17, 1944. Task Force 38 is refueling 300 miles east of Luzon. Halsey's chief aerologist, Commander George Cosco, estimates the tropical storm will pass to the east. He is wrong. Barometric pressure collapses to 907 millibars. Wind speeds cross 100 knots. 3 destroyers, Hull, Monaghan, and Spence, capsize and sink. 790 sailors drown. 146 aircraft are lost. 27 ships are damaged. By every professional standard in the Navy, the 3rd Fleet commander should be relieved. December 26, 1944, Ulithi Atoll. The court-martial option is openly discussed in the wardrooms. A formal court of inquiry convenes aboard the destroyer tender USS Cascade. Vice Admiral John Hoover presides, flanked by Vice Admiral George Murray and Rear Admiral Glenn Davis. Captain Herbert Gates serves as judge advocate. The testimony is classified secret. Hoover himself privately believes Halsey should face a court-martial. Nimitz attends every day. He says almost nothing. What Nimitz does next has no easy precedent. When a since-pack staff officer drafts a report critical of Halsey's Leyte decisions, Nimitz refuses to sign. He snaps at the author a question both men understand immediately. What are you trying to do? Start another Sampson-Schley controversy. In September 1901, as a young midshipman at Annapolis, Nimitz had watched the Navy tear itself apart in the press over who deserved credit at Santiago Bay. 2 admirals destroyed. The service humiliated for a decade. Tone this down, he writes. This is the human factor the Bureau of Personnel Files cannot capture. Nimitz does not care about perfect paper. He cares about the warfighter's spirit. In May 1942, when Halsey was hospitalized with skin disease and pulled from command before the Battle of Midway, it was Halsey himself who had the character to recommend Spruance as his replacement. That Midway controversy, the admiral who bowed out so his protégé could win, Nimitz never forgot it. The man he is protecting now is the Halsey of 1942, not the Typhoon King folds. On the formal endorsement, he tells Halsey directly, "You've got a green light on everything you did." The reprimand is buried, no court-martial, no public censure. 6 months later, in June 1945, Typhoon Connie catches the fleet again. A second court of inquiry recommends reassignment. Secretary of the Navy James Forrestal is willing to retire Halsey. Nimitz refuses. Later, in private, he will call the Typhoon's gross stupidity. He protects Halsey anyway. Vice Admiral McCain takes the fall instead. The payoff comes fast. July and August 1945. Halsey's Third Fleet strikes the Japanese home islands. Carrier aircraft pound Tokyo, Yokohama, Kure. Naval gunfire hits Hitachi, Kamaishi, Muroran. What remains of the Imperial Japanese Navy is destroyed at anchor. The battleships Hyuga and Aiz sunk in harbor. The carrier Amaji capsized at Kure. The same aggressive instinct that cost 790 lives in the Typhoon is now pounding an empire into surrender. Pacific War leadership finishes the job. September 20, 1945, Tokyo Bay. Admiral Halsey stands on the quarterdeck of USS Missouri as the Japanese delegation signs the instrument of surrender. 3 months later, he is promoted to Fleet Admiral, 5-star rank. Only 4 American naval officers will ever wear it: Leahy, King, Nimitz, Halsey. The commander Washington wanted fired has become the 4th. Nimitz's silent rebellion against the Washington bureaucracy has produced the admiral who accepts Japan's surrender. The debate still runs 7 decades later. Historians call Halsey reckless, indispensable, both simultaneously. Nimitz himself, in private correspondence, conceded Halsey was guilty of gross stupidity in both Typhoons. He protected him anyway. In the Nimitz versus Washington bureaucracy confrontation of 1944, the paperwork said fire him. The man who had once run the paperwork, the man who knew the Bureau of Personnel from the inside, knew something the forms could not measure. Warfighters are not interchangeable. The Admiral Roosevelt wanted fired kept his command through the final day of the war. But Nimitz's next fight is already taking shape. Okinawa is falling. Japan is finished. And General Douglas MacArthur wants sole command of the invasion of Japan itself. 2 theater commanders. 1 grand strategy. Nimitz has just proven he will defy Washington to protect his fighter. Now he must face the most famous general in America. The command conflict is only beginning.